that a lot of different groups use. So what is Meetup? As I said, it's a community social networking site. It allows different groups for a fee to promote their group and to help people to find them. So Meetup has become the place to go if you want to find some place to go learn how to dance, or you want to go learn, want to go play bridge, or you want to do a lot in any number of things. Meetup has groups of people who are doing that. Even professional organizations that I belong to use it. So I use it to actually find my friends at the .NET Users Group Society, and they promote their meetings there so that I can go and learn about what's new in technology. So Meetup is really a platform that's used by a lot of different organizations and groups to be able to promote their meetings and give people information and help to draw people in. And many clubs have used this over the years. I know Lorraine Wheatley told me that her club, TNT, used it very successfully for many years. They were always getting guests through this. So it can be an excellent way for you to bring people in the door. It's just another way to get your name out there so that people can find you amongst all the other activities that are going on in Edmonton. So you'll find there's groups that do social activities, hobbies and passions, sports and fitness, health and wellness, technology, arts and culture, networking. So networking is a big thing on there, education and learning, and travel and outdoor. And of course, Toastmasters sort of fits into education and learning. It's one of the types of groups that's out there. So you'll find all these different kinds of groups out there, and you are competing against all these different groups to get the attention of people. So you have to do your due diligence to hit the right target market. Now, let's get. So how is District 99 using it? Well, we have sponsored two meetup groups. So a meetup group is essentially a group that promotes meetings to other people on the meetup platform. You could pay for this yourself. The cost of a group is about $14 US a month. And so you multiply that out by 12 and then by 1.33. And then if Trump decides to add a tariff on, then, we're going to be paying $250, $300 a year for this privilege. The district pays for two groups, one for Northern Alberta and one for Northern Saskatchewan. And the reason we pay for two is because then that way we don't have Saskatoon and Prince Albert and other clubs getting lost in the mix of all the traffic from Edmonton. So it just allows people to find things a little bit better. If they ask for activities in Saskatchewan, they will get the groups from Saskatchewan, not the groups from Edmonton. So that's why we do that way. There's no cost to the clubs to use it. You just have to sign up and let us know that you want to organize events on the platform, and we give you that permission to do it. Mildred actually asked me tonight, and I did it. It took less than 5 minutes to do. It's not a big thing. So the first requirement to use Meetup is that you need to sign up for the platform. And so when you first go to Meetup, you'll see a page that looks like this, and it'll have in the upper right-hand corner, it'll have a couple different things. It'll have login and it'll have sign up, the big sign up button. So if you've never signed up before, if you've never actually used Meetup, you want to sign up. And what that does is it creates your Meetup account that you can then associate with whatever groups you want to be associated with. So for example, if you are, as I say, interested in hiking groups, you could join some hiking groups. You're interested in Toastmasters, you can join our groups, and then you'll start to see events related to the groups that you join. You can also just search for things that are going on and you'll see the list of everything that's going on. So you want to come to the meetup.com. So it's just www.meetup.com. And the first thing you want to do is, if you've never done it before, is click the sign up button. You have some choices when you sign up. You can use your Google account. If you've got a Google email address, you can use that account as your login to Meetup. You can use your Apple ID. If you've got an Apple ID account, you can use that. You can use your Facebook account, or last option is you can just use your email address and a password that you make up separate on this site. So the first three, it's reusing an ID that you already have and that you already use, Google, Apple, or Facebook. In the fourth option, you're going to use your email address and a password that you make up that is specific to this site. So really the choice is up to you, whatever you want to use. Lots of people like the convenience of using their Google ID or their Facebook ID, because then it means they don't have to remember yet another password, right? They can just use one that they already know and love. So you want to surf over to in your web browser to https d99tm.org/meetup for clubs. And that is an instructional page on our website that talks about the process of getting set up. Okay. You're directed to join the group that you want to promote your club in. So if you're in Alberta, use the Northern Alberta one. If you're in Saskatchewan, use the Northern Saskatchewan one. And then you want to send an email to support@d99tm.org and ask to be added as a meeting organizer. You can't do that until you've actually joined the group because you don't appear on the list. And if you're not on the list, I can't elevate you to meeting organizer. So you have to have done that. Once you've done that, you should receive a message saying that you have been successfully elevated to an event organizer, and then you can go forward and start setting up meetings. When you are an event organizer, you'll notice if you go to the group page, so this is the Edmonton, Northern Alberta, Saskatchewan clubs, you'll notice that there is a button there now that says create event. That will be different. If you weren't an event organizer, you wouldn't see that button, big pink button. That gives you the opportunity then to fill out a form, tell us about your meeting, and get it publicize it so that everybody can see it. So when you use that, there's you're probably used to the fact that when there's a little arrow key thing there, that means there's probably more options. So if I click on the little arrow thing, you'll see there's just create an event, which is the default thing. You can generate event with artificial intelligence. I know some people think AI is cool. I tried it. It wasn't really that cool. It just created it as a generic event, and you're going to want to rewrite it. You could copy a past event. So if you've set up event in the past and you want to copy it, you can just copy one of your old events and then just update it and do that. Or you can, if you've worked on one before and you didn't publish it yet, you've saved it as a draft, you can edit one of your drafts that you have. Okay, so you're able to, if you can't finish it in one setting, you are able to save it in as a draft and then come back to it later if you want to. The only drawback with the way we're organized is that every club is in Northern Alberta is using this. So there might be drafts there that aren't yours. They could belong to somebody else. So we would ask that you be respectful. Don't touch other people's events. Don't delete other people's events. Don't, edit their events. Just be careful and do your events only. Okay. When you say create an event, it'll come up and it'll ask you for a title. What I suggest you do is don't just say, join us at so-and-so Toastmasters. That's kind of boring. You want something that's going to catch the eye because, again, remember, you are competing against hundreds, if not thousands of other social groups out there that are using this platform. So you want to make sure what you put in here as a title is something that might catch the attention. So for example, I put in here, become the communicator and leader you are meant to be. A little bit catchier. It's not just the boring come to our Toastmasters club. Because if I asked you just to come to my Toastmasters club, you'd be like, well, what does that mean? What's that all about? This title sort of says there's something here to be gained by coming to the meeting. Then you pick the date and time. So typically when you're setting this up, you would select the date and the time of your next meeting. You put a duration there. You've got a list. You can actually, oops, let me go back a couple here. You can actually specify the duration of the meeting. So is it 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it might be. You get a chance to put a photo. So here I've used one of the Toastmasters International stock photos that are available. We'll go through that later. I'll show you the brand site where you can download these photos and use them. They're freely available and easy to use. But then that gives you something to catch the eye because a photo always catches the eye. So make sure you've got a nice photo that will get people engaged. As you go through it, you're going to put the title, the date, the start time, the duration, a description. You get a chance to write up a little description of what your meeting's all about, the picture, and then you can actually specify that the listing would repeat. So for most clubs, that means you're going to go in and say it repeats every week on that day at that time. And then that way you can set it up and you can actually specify an end date. So if you just want to set it up to repeat till the end of June, you can do that. And then that way you have an entry that will always be there every week, whether you do anything or not. It'll just automatically be in the list and there. I would suggest that every week you go in and maybe tweak it a little bit and add what's special about the next meeting, maybe your meeting theme or what's going on, but you can set it up and just let it run if you want to. Best practices that you want to make sure you employ is you can set up the meeting, but you want to make sure you encourage your club members to join Meetup as well and actually find the meeting listing and say they are coming. You got to think about the mentality of the people that are on this site. They're looking for something to do. And if you found a group that only had one person involved in it versus another group that had 20, 30 people involved in it, which group are you going to go to? The one that seems to have more members and more stuff going on, right? So it's great that the organizer creates the meeting, but I would really encourage you as the organizer to then also provide the link to your members and say, please go join Meetup. Please say you're coming to this meeting. So then when people are looking at it, they're seeing that, yes, there's more than one person here. And especially, you know, a mix of people. There's men, there's women, there's different levels of people. Really demonstrate. It's just like when they walk into your Toastmasters club for the first time and they take a look around. You want to have the same attitude about your Meetup page. You want to make sure that when they arrive at your Meetup page, they see a diverse group of people who are meeting and getting together to help each other grow as communicators and leaders, right? So you want to make sure that that happens. You want to make sure you update the details. So as I said, it doesn't hurt, even though you set up the recurring meeting, you can still go in and edit individual meetings and do things like add in a Zoom link. You can add in a theme, what you're going to be talking about that week. If there's a special presentation going on, you can promote it. You can do whatever you want on each week, right? Setting up the series doesn't stop you from going in and changing the individual meetings. And then you want to make sure that the text that you put in there, again, just like the title, uh, don't make it boring. Don't tell them everything about Toastmasters there. Just tease them enough to get them to come. You want to get the butts in the seat. You want them to come in the door. You just want to give them something that will hopefully encourage them. So in mine, for example, I talk about, you know, do you want to get a leg up at work? Do you want to improve yourself in your career? Do you want to get more involved in your community, but you just don't know how to? This is a great place to do that, right? So again, rather than say, well, come to our Toastmasters meeting and you'll see people give speeches and all that stuff, they'll read that and it just won't turn them on. Say something that will engage them and get them in the door. That's the important thing, is you want to get them in the door. It's just like anything. You want them in the door. Once you got them in the door, they see the product, they start to understand what it's all about. But you need to do a little glitz and glamour to get them in the door in the first place. In terms of getting help, there's a lot of documentation for Meetup. They do a really good job of documenting the different stuff. And if you click on, once you get signed in, up in the upper right-hand corner, you see I put a picture on mine. You don't have to upload a picture, but that helps as well, because then when you say you're going to a meeting, it actually puts your picture there and says, you know, you are going. So Peter's going, and it's got a picture of his smiling face there. That makes people feel warm and fuzzy about going to the meeting. But if you click on that menu, there's an option there for help. And that allows you to get help on various different topics. And we'll run through that when I do a demonstration here in a minute. So we'll go through a demonstration. That's kind of a high level overview. At this point, are there any questions, anything that you want me specifically to go over when I do the demonstration, or you just happy if I run through a demonstration, you can kind of see what's going on? Mildred's got a question.
I just had a comment.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, sometimes, like I know we always have about 10 members coming to our Toastmasters group. So if I go on Meetup and I see that my fellow Toastmasters haven't put on their raise their hands, I always tell them that I'm bringing 3 or 4 guests.
Mhm.
And that way it makes it more likely that we get strangers coming to our Toastmasters group because we've got something going on. So even if I'm making up guests, it makes it look like we do actually have a growing, interesting club and a going concern. It makes it appear the way that it already is.
Yep, for sure. And that once you get people to sign up and say that they are members of the club or coming to the sign up to the group, then what you can do is you can do exactly what Mildred was talking about is you can actually go in and say, well, I'm adding you and I'm adding you and I'm adding you, and you can add different people. You can at the very least add them as co-hosts of the meeting. You're allowed to have, I think, 3 different hosts for a meeting. And so you at least then you've got a few people. But again, there's a link that you can share with your members and say, here's the link to my meetup. Please go there, sign in, get signed up, go to the meetup, and just click on the button that says, yes, I'm attending. Because then when people come and look, they'll see a bunch of heads at the bottom that say, these are all the people that are coming, right? And that's really what's important is to make it look like it's a room full of people who are there to participate and play a part in the meeting, right? So I'm just going to move that. Okay, so I'm going to start off at the beginning. I'm going to start off at our district website. And so I talked about the fact that there were instructions. If you go here and you go to the website and you go to Club Resources, Meetup for Clubs, and click on that, it'll take you to a web page that basically says, okay, step 1, register for an account. This is what we talked about, right? Step 2, find the meetup group you want to join. And so here's the link to where to get to the meetup groups. We're at meetup.com/pro/D99TM. Join the meetup group that fits your geography, so either Northern Alberta or Northern Saskatchewan. And then you send an email to CGD or support. If you send it to support, I get it, and then I just do it, right? I'm usually watching my email. I know some people don't watch their email closely. I do watch it fairly closely. When I see it, I will log in and usually within a day, you'll have yourself elevated. And then you create a meeting notice for your club. And there are instructions available. As I said, if you go to the instruction page, it'll actually give you a walkthrough of what to do. But we're going to go through one today so you can kind of see what's involved, right? So we'll go to Meetup. And here's that page that I told you about where you're coming to the main page and I haven't logged in or anything. If I didn't have an account, I would click on the sign up button and go through that sign up process. But in this case, I already have an account. So I'm going to log in and I'm going to cheat because I already have it. Oops. I don't need to do that. I'm going to cheat because I already have that password in my password vault. I'm going to log in and it should flash. And there you go. Now I'm logged in and I can see a calendar, which gives me a calendar. I can see on the right-hand side a list of things that are going on in Edmonton. They're not just Toastmaster things, remember? They're a lot of different things. Some of them might be ones that you'll notice here, this one on Monday, it's a group that I belong to, a professional group, and it says I'm attending it. So I've already said I'm attending that. And just as an example, if I go in there, this is for a technical group that I belong to. But if you go in here and look at the bottom, you'll see, look, there's 11 different people are going to this. So they can see because the screen the way it is right now, it's just showing these 3 plus 8 more. And if I click on the 8 more, it'll actually show me the list of everybody who's coming. No, of course it's giving me it should give me, no, it didn't do it. Okay. It appears that they've made that a premium thing if you want to see everybody who's coming. So I don't want to pay for it right now. Get me out of here. There we go. So anyway, back to upcoming events. So those are different events. You'll see here's Morning Challengers is here. And if you go in and you look down on theirs, you'll see that there's only 3 people. So again, if you see a group that's got 3 people signed up for it or a group that's got 15 people signed up for it, which one are you going to go to? which one are you more likely to go to? So I would always encourage that you try to get as many people as possible from your club to say, yes, I'm coming, sign up for it and say, yes, I'm coming. And here they've chosen to get a picture of the facility where they meet. They've put a picture of the facility, and then they've got some information here, right? Now, the one thing that I would suggest they do is Morning Challengers Toastmasters Club. That's kind of a boring title. I would pick something that would catch the person's eye when they're looking at the event listings. And then you can see here that they've actually set up the recurring appointments. So below here, you'll see there's a list of dates, and you can look at all the dates that are covered by this appointment. So when they set it up, they just set it repeats every week, and it automatically shows up in here. So even if they don't do anything, there will be a listing that shows their club is meeting the next week, the next week, the next week. If you have a week when you're not meeting, I would encourage you to go in and actually remove that date, which you can do. You can actually remove one date out of the future series. That's easy enough to do. Okay, so let's go back to the first page. And you'll see here, I'm a member of the Edmonton Northern Light, or these are the groups that I'm a member of. I belong to Edmonton Northern Alberta Toastmaster Clubs, and I belong to these other ones. I'm also a member of the Saskatoon one, so I could participate in there as well. So I'm going to go into the Edmonton and area, Northern Alberta, and you'll see here that we've got a very basic setup. There's almost 2,000 members in this meetup. So it is a very vibrant meetup. That's why it's kind of always interesting when you go to an actual club meeting listing and you only see 3 people, right? If you guys have got 2,000 people in this meetup, why are there only 3 people going to this one meeting? So that's always the question. So once you click on that group, you'll see all of the listings that are particular to that meeting, right? And because I'm set up as a meeting organizer, you'll see that I have this pink button here that says create event. So if I want to create an event, I can, go off and create a new event that I could post and then tell people about. You'll see that you can specifically just list the events. So here's a listing of all the events for this. And I'm just going to look here and see if I can. It's spinning. It's going to do more. I want to see if I can get to next Wednesday and see the one that I created for. There we go. So this is the one for pursuers. Does it say pursuers Toastmasters there? No. Become the communicator and leader you are meant to be, right? And then a little bit of text and a nice picture. So are you looking for a boost in confidence? So that's kind of what I tried to do, is I tried to make this something that's more catchy, that would let people know what's going on. Right now, I've only got 2 people because I just created this and I haven't shared it with the rest of the club yet. But I'll admit freely that my club's bad at this. If I send it out, they're not really good at signing up for it, but they should. Okay. If I want to edit this event, you'll see that up here, there's this thing called Organizer Tools. And if I click on the little arrow, it says I can manage who's attending. So in here is where I could go in and I could actually stack the deck and put Dan Hardy and Fern Hardy and a few people like that I know are members of our club. I could just add them to the list to make it look better. You can contact the people that have said they're attending. You can send an email if you want. You can edit the event. You can copy it. You can cancel it, right? So if I know this meeting's not going to happen on this date, and you'll see here I've got the different dates here. If I click on any one of them, it'll change to that date. If I know there's not going to be a meeting, then I should cancel it, right? And stop that one so that people aren't coming to my club on that date if there's not going to be an event. If I edit the event, it'll open it up. You'll see I get an option here. Do I want to edit this event only or edit this and all following? Which means any change you make would then affect every meeting up to the end of your series of meetings. I'm just going to edit the one event right now. And you'll see here, it allows me to go in and change the title, change the date and time. I can change the duration, right? I could say it's longer or shorter, or whatever the case may be. I could say it's only 1.5 hours if that's what it is. I can change the photo. Photos are something that if you have your own, that's great. If you don't, you can always go to the Toastmasters brand portal and there are pictures there that you can download, right? So as an example, if I go over the TI website and here's the brand portal, you'll see that one of the options is branded images. So if I click on that, it's going to take me to the litho website. And here are a whole bunch of stock images that Toastmasters International has put up there that you can use for free. So you can actually download these and then use them in your publications on Meetup, wherever you need to use them, right? The details, and you get to a little bit of formatting. You can put links in there. You can bold text. You can put in bullets if you want to. All of that stuff is possible. You can publicize a speaker. So I could go in here and say this event has a speaker, and then I could fill in the details about the speaker. So if you got a special event where there's a speaker coming, you could fill in their details here, and that would show up as part of the event listing. You can add in up to 5 topics. So I can go in here and say leadership, personal development, self-help and improvement, Toastmasters, communication skills. So let you put 5 topics on there. So I put my 5 on there, I'm done. That just helps people to find you, because when they search for these terms, then it'll help them to find yours, right? I'm the host. I could go in here and say, well, I'm going to add more hosts. So I'll add Fern Hardy, who's a member, and I'll add Danny Hardy. So I could add people like that I know are members of our club. You can specify if it's a paid event, although we wouldn't be doing that. You have the option to ask questions. So you could ask the people that are attending a question if you wanted to. You can set a limit on how many people can come. So if you think you're going to get 1,000 people coming and you can't handle that, you could say, well, we'll only handle 25, 30 people. You can specify whether the person is allowed to bring guests with them. So they can, when they sign up, they can say, I'm bringing a guest. You can record a time when you will accept RSVPs. So you can say, well, I won't accept people RSVPing until this date and time. And you can also close the RSVP so that people can't say they're attending after a certain time, right? So those are some of the things that you can do to promote your event. It allows you then to give, that information. You can also here add a venue. So if it's in person, so for example, in here, we've been meeting at the Spirit of Good Hope. Spirit of Hope United Church. So I can add that. It'll actually add a map. If it's a hybrid meeting, I can say, I'm going to switch to hybrid. So I could add my Zoom link in here. It doesn't publish your Zoom link until they say they're coming, and then it'll become visible to them. But it doesn't just put it in your listing. You have to actually sign up for the event, and then you'll be told what the Zoom link is. So you don't have to worry about your Zoom link being out there where someone could just scoop it and bomb your meeting, right? So there's a bit of security to it. They can't get it unless they signed up for Meetup and then actually say they want to attend your meeting, and then they will get the link. So that's just another way that if people want to attend and you don't want to have to be emailing back and forth with the hyperlink if they're going to come virtually, you can do it this way. And you have online as an option as well if you just want strictly online. And it's probably going to be mad if I don't well, I won't put it in there yet. But that's essentially, and then from week to week, you could change, right? You can, once you've said this meeting's a hybrid, then the next week the next one might be online. You can go back and forth, right? Mildred, you've got a question. Your lips are moving, but I can't hear you.
Have you ever had somebody sign up, get the link, and then bomb you?
No, I haven't yet. I mean, it theoretically could happen. Someone could sign up, and the issue is if you sign up for Meetup, and Meetup kind of knows who you are because they've got your email address. If you do that, then I would complain to Meetup, and Meetup would then terminate that person's account. So it's kind of counterproductive, right? I mean,
It's pretty secure to do it that way.
it's definitely better than just posting the link on your website, because then anybody can see it without any kind of screening. At least this has the screening of they had to sign on using an email account of some sort. So then Meetup has a way to reach out to them, right? And a way to get in touch with them. But that's essentially what an event looks like. You can, as I said, you can create a recurring series of them. For each event, you can go in and edit the event and change details about the individual events as they come along. And it gives you then that ability to sort of highlight what's different about a meeting from week to week, especially if you've got guest speakers coming in or any of those kind of features that would be of interest to the general public, right? So it's that simple. You get it out there, you get it all set up, and then if I'm just going to cancel out of here and I'll go back to, I wonder if it'll work. I'm just going to try something here. I'm going to sign out. I'm going to log out so that I'm not logged in anymore. It doesn't know who I am. So now I'm going to go in here just as a nobody, and I'm going to say Toastmasters. And you see here, it asks you for a place, a location. So if I was in Saskatoon, for example, I could go in here and it'll say Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, and do a search. And it will go off and it will find any listings that it can. Now, in this case, it's actually coming up with ones from here because I guess it knows that I'm centered from here. But plus the fact there aren't that many people that in Saskatoon that are actually using Meetup, right? So if I go back to, let's try one that will hopefully yield some results. We'll try Sherwood Park. Because when I do this, I should get morning challengers and some of those clubs. And it's kind of any distance. Let's say I want within 10 miles. So you can see I can start to narrow it down a little bit here, right? So Toastmasters, weekly meetings, morning challengers. Now because I've limited it down to 10 miles, it's starting to get a little more discriminating and it's not giving me clubs all over the place, right? I can also limit by, people can also check by clubs that are online, in person, are they meeting outdoors? I can also check days of the week. So there's lots of different things there that people can do. And here's where those categories come in. So people could go in here and say, well, I want a club that's about, an educational club. But that's essentially what people can do. They don't even have to be a member of Meetup, but as soon as they want to interact, so if they click on Morning Challengers Club, they'll see it. As soon as they say, well, you'll notice down at the bottom here, it's showing an attend button, right? So as soon as they say they want to attend, guess what it's going to do? It's going to ask them to sign up. Or if you're already a member, you could log in, right? I'm going to get Glenn Williams all excited because he's going to see me saying that I'm going to attend his meeting. And there's no way in hell I'm going to get up leave the house at 6 a.m. to go to his 7 a.m. meeting. So here there's 12. They've actually put limits on. They've said so I could go in person, there's 12 spots left, or I could go online, and he says there's 15 spots left. There's a theory that if you put a limitation on, that makes people more eager to buy, because if it's unlimited, then they're like, well, I don't have to do anything, right? So putting limits on can sometimes be advantageous because you're inducing them to buy because they might miss out if they don't buy now, right? But so for example, I could go in here and say, well, I'm going to come online. That would take away one more seat away from the 15. I would get signed up, and then if they've set it up to do so, I would get the Zoom link from here, from the site now, once I've signed up. And I guess I could make him excited here. I'll click that I'm going to do online. Am I bringing anybody with me? No, I'm just me by myself. But if I wanted to, I could probably, so yeah. So it's just telling me I should send them the link and let them sign up themselves rather than me signing up for them. So now I'm going to submit. Now it comes up and says, okay, thank you for your registration. I can get coupons. They're doing a little marketing. Now I can add it to my calendar and it will show up on my list of events that I'm attending, right? And it shows me a list of other meetings of theirs that I could go, that I could say, well, I'm going to attend those meetings as well. And if I decide I'm not going, you'll see down at the bottom here, there's an edit RSVP. I can go in here and say I'm not going anymore. So Glenn won't be excited anymore because I'm not coming to his meeting. So that's kind of a whirlwind trip around it. And again, the reason I could do this is because my account has been set up as an event organizer. I'm allowed to add and change meetup events. If you don't have that capability, all you can do is go in and see things and interact and send messages and stuff and say I'm going to meetings. But once you contact us and say I want to be an event organizer, so if you're the VPPR and you want to be an organizer, if you contact Margaret or myself, Margaret will probably just send it on to me. Then I will make you an organizer, and then that create button will show up for you, and you'll be able to create events as well. All right, any questions? I've done so well that nobody has any questions. That's great.